welcome to another edition of SeahawkTalk. Today is Wednesday, April 1, and we are not fooling. We're bringing you an episode of SeahawkTalk. No jokes allowed. Maybe a few. We'll see what we got going here. Welcome, everybody. My name is Ed Habishore, and I'm proud to host SeahawkTalk. Third day, third installment of it. And we have a number of guests today. Let me show them up on the screen. We've got Rob McGuinness leading off, our men's and women's cross-country head coach. We've got Jen Foster, field hockey head coach, Jane Walsh, our women's soccer head coach, and Craig O'Rourke, our men's soccer head coach. All are coming to you via FaceTime. Our last guest will be faceless, but nonetheless, we'll get to hear him. So that'll be wonderful. Let's bring in our first guest right off the bat. Clear the overlay and jump over to screen number 4. Hello, Rob McGuinness.
Hey, Ed, how are you?
Very good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We tested the gear a little bit earlier, and I want to give viewers a little preview of what may be coming down the road. Not this week, but a few weeks. We tested that device called Alexa, and I don't want to say it today because I don't know what she'll say on April Fool's Day. But there are some games that we can play musically inclined, as viewers can see your background and appreciation for music. So love to have you on the show, and let's get started right away. Men's and women's cross country head coach.
Yes.
What's it been like for you during this time?
Well, this has been very different, as it has been for all of us, really. During the spring semester, I coached the distance runners on the women's track team, so I'm in Newport all year round. And it's funny, right before all of this really got quite serious for those of us in New England and elsewhere, I'd done a workout with Kate Norton and Chrissy Moran and Paige McDade, and we'd gone down to Fort Adams and run some hills. And we came back to campus. This was, I think, the 11th, and said, geez, I hope this isn't the last workout that we do before preseason. And it turned out that that's probably going to be the case. I don't think anyone expected things to be quite as they are, but it's very different. But I'm working from home. My office job at Pratt & Whitney in East Hartford, they've been allowing us to work from home for the last few weeks. So I've been here in my home office and just trying to keep up.
You talked about working from home. You're not alone at home.
No.
You've got a fellow photographer in the house.
I do.
I got to tell you, I've appreciated both you and Jen, your wife, for so long. Love you guys, and thank you so much for all the photography you do. I want to get that out right away in case I forget this episode and future episodes.
Well, you are most welcome, Ed. It's our pleasure, and we have a lot of fun shooting the games and the meets that we're able to cover.
Let's go to your seniors.
Okay.
Some of them, we've got a variety of majors out there, but we'll start with your men's team.
All right, start with the guys. We'll work our way through. This is a big class, so this is going to fill a balance of our time here. Start with our grad student, right, Brendan Clancy. And Brendan was one of these guys that came to us later in his collegiate career, walked onto the team as a senior, and right away impressed me and his teammates just with a great attitude. Whatever you want him to do, whatever you need him to do, Brendan's right there. Okay, coach, I'm on it. And that really goes a long way in a sport like distance running, where your results are directly related to your investment in your training. And Brendan made tremendous improvements in his first season, was actually our most improved runner when he was a senior. And then we were lucky enough to have him back as a graduate student this fall. And he's made 2 appearances in the NCAA regional championship meets. So he's been in our top 7, which is an accomplishment for a guy who really had no background as a distance runner. Brendan's stats, to look through those, total of 13 races for us. His personal bests, 31:28 for 8K. And he actually improved his 5K personal best at a non-NCAA race up in Providence that we ran toward the end of last fall. And I think Brendan's his best races are still to come. So it's been a real pleasure having him on the team. And I wish he had more eligibility, because we would gladly keep him around. He's just one of those guys who makes a great teammate. Keeping with the Brendans, I guess, let's go to Brendan Kelly. Brendan Kelly, 4-year member of the team, very, very smart guy. He's bound for law school next year. Not sure where he's going to go to school, but I know the LSATs are done, and I'm confident that Brendan's got a very bright future in the legal profession. 21 races for BK over the last 4 years. His personal best came, I think, during his freshman and sophomore seasons. Broke 30 minutes for 8K. He was a sub-19 guy for 5K. Plenty of appearances in the top 7. Represented us in an ECAC championship, and was really helpful this year as one of the seniors, helping the new guys, the freshmen, get acclimated to the team and to some of the expectations. A great training partner for them. So we've been happy to have BK, another guy with a great attitude, and another one we're sorry to see walk across the stage when it's graduation time. Let's see, working our way through the men's team here. And I have my crib sheets out from the banquet at the end of the season because I have a lot of guys to talk about. Riley Rancourt, talk about smart guys. Riley was the CCC Senior Scholar Athlete last fall. Second time in the history of the men's program that we've had one of our guys win that award. The first one was Jay Brennan a couple of years ago. And so Riley, top GPA on the team, 23 races over the last 4 years, a lot of time in the top 7. Riley's a very consistent performer. Another guy who I'm sure is going to do his best racing in his post-collegiate years. Personal bests, low 29s for 8K, low 18s for 5K in college, and just a steadfast staple of the lineup for the last 4 years. We've really appreciated having Riley because he was just dependable. You knew if he was on the line, he was going to go out and give you what he had, and he was very, very consistent. So that's probably one of the best things about Riley. Working our way through that senior class on the men's side, Tanner Owens. Tanner was another pleasant surprise. I've been fortunate to have these guys appear later in their careers and just bring something special to the team. And Tanner and I first had correspondence before his freshman year at Salve, and we talked about the possibility of him competing for us, and it didn't work out back then. And then he actually transferred away for 2 years, and so he wasn't in Newport as a sophomore or a junior. And then he transferred back for his senior year and emailed last summer and said, "Hey, Coach, I think I've got some unfinished business in our sport. What do you think about having me on the team?" And I really wasn't sure what to expect there because he'd been a basketball player for most of his athletic career. And sometimes with basketball players, they translate pretty well to distance runners, and sometimes they don't. It really depends. So I managed my expectations with Tanner. I said, "We're happy to give you a shot. Let's finish up that unfinished business." And when he came into preseason, I was blown away. He was immediately in the top 7, working out with the top guys. I think he was our 3rd or 4th in his first race when we raced up at Gordon to open last season. And he held on to that spot all the way through the fall campaign. We actually named him our Rookie of the Year, first-year athlete for cross country. So, hey, that's appropriate for that award.
Not bad for a senior.
6 races for us. Collegiate best of 18:48 for 5K and 29:19 for 8K, and all the way through to the postseason. So Tanner was a most welcome addition. Better late than never, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
And then on to Chandler DeCruz. Chandler, a 4-year member of our team, another pleasant surprise. Came on as a walk-on as a freshman. Chandler hadn't been recruited. Introduced himself before his freshman year. He ran for Middletown High School in Rhode Island. And his high school times were okay. Nothing that led me to believe that we were going to have a regular varsity contributor on our hands. But wow, was I wrong? Chandler came in and made the most of his competitive opportunities just from the very beginning. Earned a spot in the top 7, ran in the regional meet as a freshman, and really was above and beyond whatever he'd done in high school just in that first year on the team. And another really consistent performer. Always with us in the postseason at the CCC meets, ECAC championships back when we were in the ECAC, and every single one of the Division III regional championships, Chandler was on the line for us. But I think what was most important about Chandler, especially this year, was the leadership that he brought to the team. He was an outstanding captain. And I saw Chandler moving into a leadership role as a junior. He was the guy that would get everybody else rallied before the race and get them pumped up and excited and make sure that they were organized and that they were ready to go. And it was clear that he was invested in his teammates. And when I approached him about possibly being a captain. I said, I think you're the guy. I think you're leading this team. And he said, well, are you sure? I said, I'm pretty sure. And of the captains I've had in my 8 years at the university, Chandler's one of the best. I think he's right up there with Sean Hughes in terms of leadership, in terms of investment in his teammates, and in making sure that they were performing at their best, setting a high bar in terms of expectations, and making sure that his teammates were accountable and that they followed through. And not everybody can do that, but he did it really, really well. So Chandler is somebody I really, really appreciate out of this class. All right, who else? From men, Brett Jutras. I was really happy to see Brett have a complete season because he's had an injury history during his collegiate years, and we just could never seem to get ahead of some of those injuries and setbacks. And he was someone I saw tremendous potential in coming out of high school. He had some very, very fast times from his 5Ks in high school, and I thought for sure he would be one of our varsity regulars from the start. And he was, except that injured by the end of his freshman campaign, continued to race, very tough guy, very stubborn guy sometimes. But whenever he was in the lineup, he gave us whatever he had. And even if that meant going in, a little bit of discomfort or sometimes some real pain. So Brett, we appreciate everything he did for us, just putting his body on the line sometimes. But this year was one of his best. We saw his personal best for 8K up at Westfield State, and he raced all the way through the postseason. So at least he got to finish and tap into some of what we knew was there in terms of his running ability. So Brett's another one. We'll miss him very much just because he's a really capable runner, and when he's healthy, he is as good as anyone that we've ever had.
Absolutely.
So that takes us through the men. Should we move on to the women's team?
You know what? We may save them for next week
Okay.
because I know not only was Chandler invested in this team, but you are so invested in your athletes. You do a wonderful end of season banquet with your squad, both squads, and wonderful job recognizing them all. So following at the same time next week, we'll pick up right where we left off,
Okay.
and give you the opportunity to talk about the women's team, which we're
Sure.
showing on the screen right now. And
Okay.
we've got from that senior group, Sienna Lynch, Olivia Owen, Rachel Sandry, Grace Vargo Williford. We'll be hearing from Rob McGuinness about them next week. And we're going to, in the words of Jay Brennan, we're going to let you go. We're going to let you get back to your full-time job, Rob. Because I know that hasn't ended for you.
No, it hasn't.
So,
Well, thanks for having me today, Ed. I really appreciate it.
wonderful having you. As promised, next week, your women's team seniors and wherever else we may go.
All right.
The theme song for today and going forward in this program is going to be Keep Your Distance. And how appropriate for head coach Rob McGuinness, coaching both men's and women's cross country. Thank you very much. Great having you on the show, and look forward to talking to you next week, and we'll have some more music discussion next week as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Ed. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
Bye.
Hey, we're back. I don't know what happened there, but some things got stuck. Welcome back, segment 2. Just following Rob McGuinness is our field hockey head coach, Jen Foster. We're going to bring her in from her house in Newport, Jen?
Yes.
All right. Go right to Jen Foster. Clear the graphic there. Overlay this graphic. Welcome, Jen Foster. How are you?
Good. How are you, Ed?
Very good. A family of 3, or let's say 5, with fellow head coach Sean Foster and 2 girls and a boy.
Yes. Yep.
How has this time been for you guys, family-wise?
It's been interesting. Obviously, juggling a lot of things with working from home, schoolwork for kids. We have a daughter in 1st grade, so she's obviously busy with her schoolwork, and a son in preschool who's doing daily Zooms with his class. So, and then a 2-year-old who has energy galore. So, it's been interesting, but we're getting into the groove of it. So
It's great. So sometimes we may see them during this episode, and if so, they'll creep in around the lower corner where my image is, and I'll have to raise it up sort of like this just to get me out of the way. Say, hey, let's see the kids. So
yes,
that could happen. We'll be ready for it.
yeah, okay.
You've got a great bunch of seniors on your team, and
Yes.
so let's go right to work and let's start talking about them.
All right, we had 5 seniors this fall. Start with our captain, Vanessa Frost. She's just a very versatile player. I always use her as an example when talking to recruits. She, started as a forward as a freshman, and we've slowly crept her back, and she was a starting defender in the midfield for us by her senior year. Just brought a lot of versatility and game sense to that, and just a great kid. Very personable with her teammates, and that's what you're looking for in your senior captain. Natalie Reed played with us for 3 seasons. She started in the spring of her freshman year. Natalie just grew a lot as a player. May not have shown necessarily in the minutes that she had on the field, but just her growth as a player, her game sense. A great teammate. I know the girls really respected her and how good of a student she was as well in the classroom. Hannah Filio, she's a senior education major. One of our most competitive players, definitely on the team. She's the one probably would get most beat up about a loss or beat herself up if she made a mistake. But she's going to be someone we're going to really miss on the left side in the midfield. Played a lot of minutes over her career, so that's a big hole that we're looking to fill for next season. Liv St. Jean, another midfielder for us. Also a very versatile player. She's kind of moved around a little bit in her career. She's very composed as a player. Just goes out there and shows her skill set. Very disciplined with that. And then also Ashley Cody. She was an all-region, all-American player in her career. Big hole to fill on the forward line. Just had a great finishing touch for us. I think the big thing, that stood out from Ashley is just, her skill set was really well admired by her teammates and obviously the coaches in the conference. She just really grew in her confidence over the 4 years, as a forward. But I think as a whole, that whole senior class was named to the National Academic Squad this year. So, a very talented group on the field, but also very, well recognized in the classroom as well in a variety of majors between education, ADJ, and business. So, it's a big group to lose for next season, that's for sure.
It certainly is, and many of them have had impacts not just on your team, but throughout athletics. Both Olivia and Hannah have been work study students in my area for sports information, and they've been wonderful. Hannah right away as a freshman, and Olivia as a junior. Hannah was actually on site for the last game I called. It was softball doubleheader over at which you worked as well.
Oh yeah.
as the game manager, and there's a group of kids, both field hockey wise and other sports represented, covering that softball doubleheader. It was cold, and then we got word, hey, spring break is canceled for the spring teams, baseball and softball most notably, and but worked right up into the last second. And Vanessa Frost was on a WebEx call with her as Matt Finlayson hosted the e-board from the SAC committee.
Yes.
And Vanessa Frost had something to share with the group right away, which meant she might not have been ready for the alumni game coming up, which was scheduled coming up, because she raised up her, I'm not sure if it was her left or her right hand, but it was wrapped in bandages.
Stitches, yes.
Changing a light bulb. Bright
yes,
idea?
Yeah, got the story today, yes.
How bright an idea was that? I wanted to ask and I forgot. I'm sure Jody Moradian had this ready to go. Was it a frosted bulb? But Vanessa's been doing great work as a member of the e-board on the SAC, Student Athlete Advisory Committee. As you mentioned, Ashley Cody, tremendous in the field scoring wise. Your team led off the year. I'm going to dissolve into a clip of our highlights from the opening day against Eastern Connecticut State at home at Gaudet Field. Your team can score a lot of goals.
it's exciting. We've got a very talented forward line, and I'm really excited to what we have returning for next season. That's for sure. And also what we're bringing in for an incoming class. We got a lot of team speed as a whole, and we really try to utilize that to push the tempo, get the ball up the field, and score some goals.
Eliza Timms was neck and neck at not only top of the team in scoring for the Seahawks, but top of the CCC.
Yes. She's an exciting player to have coming back. She's only going to be a junior next fall, so the sky's the limit for her. I know she's got great work ethic. She's just has the raw talent that I know we keep fine tuning that and giving her some different shots that she can take, and her skill set is just going to keep growing. That's the one bummer about not having the spring season right now is it's really a great opportunity for us to work on individual skills and work on our shooting and skill sets, and we have a really young group returning for next year. We're only going to have 3 seniors, so 16 are going to be only going to be sophomores and juniors. So that's a real core group right there that really would have benefited from this spring. I know they're working hard at home doing the skill packet that we sent and trying to keep up with the skills, but nothing quite simulates being with your teammates and working on passing. But we have a really young talented group coming up, and our 3 that are going to be seniors next year, Taylor Bulis, Tori Bickle, and Kate Foley, are already providing great leadership for this group. A lot falls on their shoulders being the seniors, but I can already tell from being remote, they're reaching out to the team, checking in on everyone, and just trying to be creative on how we can stay connected as a team, during this time.
Well, without having your alumni game, you've always had a great group coming back for that game.
Yeah.
Talk about one alumni, I believe it was Erin Gendro that you had mentioned.
Yes. I just reached out to our alums the past couple of days, check in and see how they're doing. Obviously, we have a lot of nursing alums that are really affected by this. Erin was a chemistry major, and she actually works for the Rhode Island Department of Health. So she's really on the front lines of some of the testing that's going on currently. It was really interesting to hear what she's kind of seeing and doing. I'm hoping we can maybe get her on the show at some point if she's not too busy. But there's some of our alums I talked to Allie Gold, who graduated in 2016. She's down in Queens, New York right now in the hospitals, and it's just the sights they're seeing. It's really interesting here. Obviously, they're putting the degrees to good use right now as nursing alums and just in any of the science fields. That's for sure.
Well, thank you for joining us on our very 3rd episode of Seahawk Talk. I have resisted the urge for breaking out any April Fool's jokes.
Thanks.
You've been wonderful. I do get a kick out of when we have our staff WebEx meetings and both you and Sean are on board. And I see kids bouncing back and forth between each screen of you have your own screen and Sean has his
on the screen.
Yeah.
We're usually having a picnic lunch when we're doing our staff meetings on Monday mornings, so we try to keep them occupied. But yeah, they enjoy seeing what's going on around us, that's for sure.
Well, they're always welcome to be on screen during Seahawk Talk.
Great. We'll probably convince them eventually.
Absolutely. As are your current players and any alumni that want to chime in and express their thoughts on everything that's going on and what they're doing. We just love to hear from everybody. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
All right, you too. Take care.
Bye.
That's Jen Foster, our field hockey head coach. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to SeahawkTalk. I'm Ed Habashar, and I'm joined by our third guest of the afternoon. Her name is Jane Walsh. She coaches our women's soccer team. Thanks to Rob McGuinness and Jen Foster for the earlier segments. It is now 3:30, so it's time for Jane Walsh. Hello, Coach Walsh. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Coming to us from Portsmouth, Rhode Island. How's the weather there?
Not too bad. We got some cloudy skies out, but altogether I think pretty nice day, better than rain. So
Wednesdays are going to be our days of fall sports only. We had men's and women's cross country with Rob McGuinness. We had field hockey with Jen Foster. Now we have women's soccer with Jane, and we'll finish Wednesday with men's soccer and Craig O'Rourke. So your season was completed, but you were preparing for some spring ball here. Talk about that.
yeah, so we were just considering all that's happened for the spring sports. I'm very fortunate to be able to get our season in and fully completed. It's crazy to think that this is the reality for all athletes, across any division, NCAA, NAIA, all of it. So, my deepest sympathies go out to those teams, those programs, those athletes as well, coaches, and just everyone. For us, we missed out on our spring season, our non-traditional segment, which is that's a little bit of a blow, because I think our team was very excited to get back out there and start touching a ball again. I had various individual meetings with different players, and they're all talking about how excited they were to get back together as a team. So beyond just everything that we accomplished during that time, I think they really missed each other, and we're looking forward to that opportunity to kind of work together. We were able to get in 2 practices, which was great, right before spring break, actually, and they were really fun. I mean, the team was just ready to go, and so it was just good to kind of be connected at least a little bit right before all this happened.
Coach, where were those practices?
Topa Field,
Yeah.
and Lawrence. We got out onto both.
It's nice. Your regular game field is Reynolds Field, a natural grass facility, but having Topa Field available, having Lawrence Avenue Field available, and also Gaudet, you've got options.
Yeah, we certainly do. It definitely helps having all of the options, especially with Topa adding that field. Really kind of opened up what everybody can do, not just our program, but, all of SalveAthletics. I think that was a great move, a great investment. I definitely, enjoy playing over there. It's a great surface for us and what we do, and it's a huge facility. So I can kind of do a lot of things at once, which is great. I definitely want to try to get out there, as much as possible. We were on it for a few games in the fall, but definitely a lot of practices. For us, we weren't as strong on that turf field as we were on our home field. Brother Reynolds, that natural grass surface. So I didn't move as many games over there, but it certainly is a great resource for us. Really helps us prepare and train.
You finished last season with a handful of seniors on the squad playing their final ball for you. Talk about the group of class of 2020.
So this group started with the program very early in my career, as head coach, and kind of at a time where, personally, my learning curve was very steep. I feel like you can always learn, so I don't want to say, I had a lot to learn then, because I feel like I still have a lot to learn, as my career continues here. But this group in particular came at a time where there were a lot of changes going on early, and pretty much, throughout their whole career. There have been a lot of changes in playing style, changes in personnel, so on and so forth. but they were very moldable. I guess you could say they were able to kind of roll with punches. You know, just a very versatile group, I would say. In particular, you know, I think of one of our captains, Kayla McLaughlin. She herself has been a very versatile player for us in the sense that I'm pretty sure she played every position for us over her career except for maybe goalkeeper. But it wasn't off the table, you know. So she was just that. She's just that type of person, that type of player that will do whatever is asked of her. So it was really great having her for 4 years. You know, I could say, hey, I need you to do this. Go, you know, you've been playing center back, but, you know, I need you to go play outside mid or, you know, vice versa. And she ended her career at center back for us and was a really strong presence in the back. Just very solid. You know, you were always confident when she was around the ball or, you know, involved in a play or whatever the case may be. Just a really solid and versatile player and willing to do, you know, whatever was asked of her. And then we also had Brianna Gustin, and I love telling Bree's story because she was definitely one of those players that totally transformed over 4 years. It kind of gives me chills thinking about it because when she started with the program, she was very much a player that needed to develop, and it took her a little bit of time to get to the place that she needed to be a consistent player for us. And come her senior year, she was starting and playing in every game, which was great. I gave her a list of things and I said, this is what you need to do. And every year she got better in those areas. You could tell, you know, when we weren't together as a group, when she went home over the summer, she was working on the things that we talked about and came back and just was a totally different player come her senior year. So it's definitely one of those, almost like a Cinderella story, you know, somebody who kind of started at a place where there was a lot of growth and then just, you know, nailed it come her final season. So I think that was a really nice way for her to end things. In addition, we had twin sisters, co-captains with Kayla, Katie, and Emily Zemrello. Just to touch on them each individually, I mean, Emily, they both have very goofy personalities. Emily is such a fun-loving person, I think, but also takes her role very seriously. When she started out with the program, she was getting good minutes, but definitely, you know, not quite within the starting lineup yet. But very quickly that next season, you know, we put her to the back in the back line with us on the outside, and she stayed there for the rest of her career. And she was our starting left back for us the entire time, and just had this innate way to kind of like tackle, you know, 1v1, and she was just always in a good place at good times, and just used her intelligence, her soccer IQ to really help her excel. But you know, she also brought that kind of fun, loving personality to everything that she did as well, and was definitely some comedic relief for us, you know, at times. And you need that, you know, it can't be all serious all the time. You have to have time to enjoy yourself as well. So
how do you tell them apart?
Katie, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just watching them all the time. For me, it's easy. I'm like, oh, that's Katie, that's Emily, even from a distance, you know. Maybe the way they run, but they're very identical. That's for sure. And it's weird, they're mirror twins as well.
Yes.
So Emily is all lefty, and then Katie is all righty. So it's kind of cool. They're a good pair together. So, you know, Katie again had that kind of goofy personality as well, but I think also very serious. You know, wanted to excel at everything that she invests herself in, and so we ended up finding her, moved her a couple times from right back into like our six, our holding mid there, and that was her home. I mean, was awesome in that space. The whole role of the holding mid is to win balls and start the attack. And if there was one thing Katie could do, it was win balls. She's a very strong, physically strong player. was able to, slow down the attack from the other team or completely stop the attack from the other team. And she just did her job well in that space. So, again, really fun, really goofy, but takes herself very seriously as well. And then that ends with Jess, and Jess is, Jess's story is kind of an interesting one as well. She had a lot of like injuries and health related challenges that prevented her from really, I think, doing everything she wanted to do and doing everything that we would have hoped from her, but still was able to contribute in some great ways. Was a solid player during practice, always took herself seriously, always was paying attention, always was listening, never a distraction, just a good teammate all around, up and down, the board there. She played outside back for us as well. And when she was out there, she was a tough player to beat, really. And even when she did, she was coming back and she wasn't giving up on anything. And I think that's probably the one thing about Jess that I like the most is that she perseveres no matter what. She's been thrown some curveballs and has made it work. And beyond that, she's also got a great sense of humor. Very sarcastic. Will pop these little sarcastic comments to me, on the side when I'm kind of in game mode and super serious, and it kind of just brings me back down to earth a little bit and say, okay, it's not all serious.
Good to have J-Dub on the team.
Oh, that's right. So, in general, this group is just, a really special group, and I'm glad that we got to finish out our season together, as one unit, and we weren't, stifled like the spring sports are. So, they will certainly be missed, going into next season, and we've got some holes to fill. So, it's going to be a challenge for us, but the good news is that that's a lot of opportunity for everybody else.
Well, I meant to ask both Rob and Jen during their segments, and I am remembering to ask you.
Okay.
When we previewed the session, I said, I'm going to ask you one question.
Yeah.
And that is, have you been eating better before or now around this crisis?
Definitely been eating better.
Good for you.
Yeah. I was, I've heard some people joking, they're saying, oh, I'm going to gain the COVID 15, like freshman 15. And I was like, nope, I'm losing it. So actually things have been going well. It's easy when your routine is wake up and just hang out at your house all day. So
you find the positives.
Right. So I just made some lunch and I'm doing well with it. So
excellent.
It's good.
Well, Coach Walsh, thank you for joining us on this segment. We'll look forward to having you back each Wednesday in the 3:30 slot. You'll follow Jen Foster and precede Craig O'Rourke, or we could have J-Dubs on the show, or
hey, who knows?
Either one of the Zemrellos. I can't tell them apart, but I'm glad that you can.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited. This is a great platform, so I can't wait to keep doing this.
Yeah, great job doing it with your social media as well, getting it out there.
Yeah, that's right. You gotta promote. So these are special, especially when we're not together. We've gotta stay connected somehow. So this is a great way to do it.
Thanks, Jane.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Jane Walsh for Sal Virginia Soccer, women's soccer, and we'll be back with men's soccer and Craig O'Rourke right after this short break. And welcome back to Seahawk Talk. We are in segment number 4 on Wednesday, April 1. We'll be joined by Craig O'Rourke by phone, and won't be having his funny face on the screen. Actually, I am wrong. We will have his funny face on the screen. Let me bring that up right now. And let me make sure his audio is in. Craig, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. I can't hear you, so I've got to do something on my end. Let me take a quick break. And welcome back. I think I figured it out. I can isolate Craig's audio in a separate channel, and we should be able to hear him. Craig?
Yes.
Excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Very good, thank you. Coming to you via iPhone, and you're looking good on the screen with the iPhone. And we'll have some clips playing. How has this been for you? You won a championship in the fall. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's one of the more enjoyable aspects of the year. And unfortunately, as we were getting ready to start our spring season, we had a little international pandemic burst into the scene. And next thing we know, both the university and the NCAA were pulling the plug and canceling spring seasons across the globe.
And from a compliance standpoint, we can say where your full-time role at the university is. How do you see this impacting a number of our spring sport athletes?
The tough part for spring sports is that they had started this spring season and then had the plug pulled. Winter sports had completed season where championship segment, and we saw that for both the men's and women's NCAA Dream basketball tournament. That was canceled right preseason Sweet 16 round. For the winter athletes, unfortunately, they have used the full season of competition and won't have to restore, but the NCAA has given a blanket waiver for all spring sport athletes that they can essentially reclaim the year of eligibility without it being used due to the pandemic.
Talk to us about your seniors on this year's team.
Do I have to?
Yes, you did.
All right, we had five who will be departing us. Four seniors and one grad student. I guess I can start with grad student. I guess this fall will essentially refer to as LAL, Life After Lasky. Evan's been with us now for the past 5 years. Coming in with a platinum class with Lester, Crocker, Dalton, Elster, Julian, O'Donnell, Pine, Woods. He had the unfortunate situation where during a spring practice of his junior year, most notably during practice that Lester wasn't in charge of, left high on stretching. He tore his Achilles, and then was unable to use his fourth and final year eligibility during his senior season. So he returned for a fifth year to play the youth final eligibility. So we were lucky enough to have him on our roster this past fall. So now this will be the first fall in 6 years that we haven't had Evan at practice or on the field or finding new ways to pester me. So yeah, like after last year, that's what we'll be confronted with. In addition to Evan, we had two wayward souls who started with the program and left the program and then came back to the program. In Dana Sundell and Owen Kraft. Dana texted me earlier and wanted to mention that he's one of the most gifted and best athletes. Not only to ever grace the men's soccer field, but also to just walk the halls of SalveAthletics University. He told me he'd be listening to his family down in Florida and wanted to make sure that I gave him the proper shout-out as being one of the best athletes ever. Owen returned to us. He actually returned to us twice. He was on the roster as a freshman and then didn't make the roster due to a medical issue where he was in preseason and had to be ruled out due to a cardiac issue, and we had to correct that before he could return to the playing field. And luckily this year, he was able to come back and play for us. He serves not only as a legacy to the university, but a legacy to the program. As his older brother, Zachary, played for me and also captained the team during the 2014 season. And then that the two captains, Theros and McDonald, who together oversaw, essentially, I guess you could have resurrection program. As freshmen, they were on a roster that I'm embarrassed to say did last in the Coast Conference. And then over the course of their 4-year career, they got from worst to first, where we finished first during their junior season and finished first during their senior season, winning the regular season title both years. And this past year, they captained the side to the 2019 Coast Conference Men's Soccer Championship and a return trip to the NBA National Championships. Yeah, that's 5 of them.
Excellent. We're trying to show the clip of them, but it's not producing, so it's all about that. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, we're showing the final goal in the championship, which does not get credit to a Salve Regina player.
No, it's an unassisted own goal, as someone captioned our chanting versus Endicott. Endicott scored to make it 1-0, and then scored to make it 1. Then Endicott scored to make it 2-1, and we scored to make it 2-2. And then Endicott scored, and we won the championship.
So you got that progression. They score, we score, they score, we score, they score, we win!
That's essentially what it boiled down to. Oh, that's a nice photo. I'm looking at Dana, Hollis, the guy, and Hug Lasky, and Evan hugging Noah.
Yeah, great images provided by George Corrigan.
That's a nice shot. Hopefully someday I'll see that trophy again. My senior still currently has it somewhere.
Ooh, when are you going to get it back?
That's a great question. I think I need to pose to my seniors.
You got to keep your distance.
Social distance. I'm sure they will use that argument posing how they cannot return to me.
Well, we enjoyed having you on the show as a guest. I would love to have you come back as a guest with live video, not just this beautiful shot of you. I mean, I see a gorgeous shot of you up on the screen, but I'd love to see you live and in person, because I actually can. I'm not going to show the screen, but I've got him on my phone right here, and I can see him. He's hiding. He's hiding.
Yeah, well, I gotta work on maybe getting a first stream on the phone and putting on a shirt and tie before I live video stream.
Understood. Well, his name is Craig O'Rourke. My name is Ed Habishar. I've enjoyed having many of our coaches on. Craig, you don't only coach a great team, two-time head coach of the year in the Commonwealth Coast Conference, but you also do a wonderful job as a member of the full-time staff at Salve Regina. So we really appreciate everything you do for the school, and hope you and your family are doing well. You got a growing family there, and we want to make sure everything's good in East Providence. I used to have you here in Warwick, but now it's just in East Providence.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, we'll have you back next Wednesday. It'll be a week removed from April Fool's Day. Do you ever do anything on April Fool's Day, Craig?
Oh, occasionally I have things pulled on me and done to me, and I always try to do something with the team, which I'm still debating since it's April Fool's Day. That doesn't officially end until midnight.
Well, you still have some time then. It's just approaching 4 o'clock. We've had a great opportunity to catch up with you. Hope all is going well in East Providence. Remote learning for everybody, and also remote work for you and your wife.
Thanks, Ed. Have a good one.
Thank you. That's Craig O'Rourke from East Providence. My name is Ed Habishar. I'm going to clear some overlays and put one more up. Thanks for joining us on episode 3. Another 4 segments done today, thanks to Rob McGuinness, Jen Foster, Jane Walsh, and, of course, Craig O'Rourke II. Have a good day, everybody. Wash your hands. Keep your distance. Stay at home. Take care.